Welcome back, YouTubers. I'm Dr. Greg, and in this video we're going to continue our exploration into the secrets for happiness. So if you're interested in finding happiness, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so we can take this journey of discovery together. Welcome to Dr. Greg's Guide to Happiness, the Problem Paradox. Have you ever just stopped and thought about how your life would be if you found happiness? What would it look like for you? Is it you sitting on the beach in the sun? Is it you surrounded by the people you love and the people who love you? Is it living a self-sustained life on a farm somewhere? So many people talk about being happy, but they've never actually stopped to ask themselves what it is they're seeking. They just feel like they don't have it now. So they're in various stages of mania, trying to experience this nondescript state that they call happiness. However, regardless of what this state of happiness is for you, I've found one commonality in people's experiences. It's the idea that your happy place is stress-free. Your problems are all gone, and you are finally able to just relax. Sound familiar? But what if I told you that your happy place and a problem-free existence are actually mutually exclusive? In other words, you can't have a happy life and a problem-free life. Wait, don't stop the video just yet. Just hear me out. Look, if I was another YouTube crackpot, then I'd say go right ahead. Turn this off, go and watch some more cat videos. But what we're looking at today are not my ideas. They're well grounded in classical philosophy. So stick around a little longer and you might learn something that could change your life. We're going to look at why a problem-free life is a problem. Have you ever noticed that life can suck? You missed that promotion at work. That sucks. Just found out the tax department is auditing you. That sucks. Someone ran into your car on the way to work. That sucks. Found out you've got cancer. That really sucks. If you've been astute enough to realize that life can suck, then you probably noticed that regardless of who you are, rich, poor, successful or struggling, there's always another problem to be overcome. So here's truth bomb number one. To live is to have problems. Life is a struggle. No one on earth is immune from this reality. From the lowliest pauper to the richest person on earth, we all have problems that we need to overcome every day. For some reason, we think that the removal of all these problems will somehow create happiness, when in actual fact the only thing that having no problems means is that you're already dead. So although you have this vague feeling that your happy place is a problem-free zone, that world is complete and total fantasy. It's no more real than a unicorn or a goose that lays golden eggs. What philosophers such as Aristotle, Plato and Cicero explained is that your happiness is not an existence that is free from problems. In fact, we need problems to be happy. So here's truth bomb number two. Our sense of happiness is a byproduct of overcoming our problems. Have you ever struggled to achieve something that's difficult? Maybe it's finding a job, maybe it's finishing a university degree, maybe it's getting the kids to school on time on a Monday, or even conquering that difficult level on Candy Crush. What I'm explaining is that the problem itself is irrelevant. I want you to focus for a moment on how you felt when you finally overcame that problem, when you mastered that thing, or when you worked your way through that challenge. That moment when you felt the stress release and your dopamine and endorphins kicked in, and you give that fist pump, whether it's in your head or in the air. Did you feel happy? Did that sense of accomplishment represent, even for a moment, the idea of what happiness is? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say yes. Why? Because human beings are hardwired to be problem solvers. We just can't help ourselves. Whether we're sitting in the cave sharpening a stick to kill the mammoth that keeps ravaging our village, or we're trying to work out how to create a colony on Mars, we seek out problems so we can solve them. It's kind of our thing. And it's this simple drive that pushes our species forward. And the more difficult the challenge, the greater the sense of euphoria that we experience when we finally overcome that challenge. So if this sense of euphoria, i.e. happiness, is related to the difficulty of the challenge faced, could that mean that our sense of happiness is increased by increasing the difficulties of the challenges that we choose to face? Now I know that sounds arse about, but it's not my idea. Actually, it was Cicero's idea. Cicero said, "The greater the difficulty, the more glory there is in surmounting it." So this leads us to truth bomb number 3. The reason you're not happy is because you are focusing on problems that don't really matter. I once had a friend who was perpetually cranky about something. For this video, let's call him Grumpy Gus. When you spoke to Grumpy Gus, he was always talking about that stupid checkout operator who managed to shortchange him by 5 cents, or the idiot driver who cut him off in the traffic this morning. It didn't matter when you spoke to him. His conversation was a litany of idiots and morons who seemed to exist in this world for the sole purpose of making his life difficult. Gus was, without a doubt, the most miserable person I've ever met. But here's the rub. Gus was, and still is, for those viewing his life from a distance, extremely successful. His business was doing well, he bought himself a new car every few years, and he had a lovely family. But to listen to him, you'd think that his whole existence was flat out miserable. So what the hell was Gus's problem? Well, Gus had reached a point in his life when he stopped chasing the next challenge. He stopped seeking out goals worth solving. After achieving the goals that he set out to achieve as a young man, Gus settled back into enjoying a happy life. But over time, the energy that he used to drive him forward onto his earlier successes needed an outlet. Like every human being, Gus needed a problem to solve and a challenge to overcome. He needed a reason to be here, but he thought what he wanted was a problem-free life. So he stopped trying to overcome the next big hurdle. As a result, that energy that had driven him to overcome some significant challenges as a young man began to actually eat away at his happiness when it had nothing meaningful to overcome. Or if I can quote a modern-day philosopher, Jerry Seinfeld, you have to motivate yourself with challenges. That's how you know you're still alive. You see, I think so many people struggle to find happiness because they confuse happiness with ease. So this idea that problems are an inherent requirement in our sense of happiness raises a fundamental question. Did it ever occur to you that the reason why you aren't happy is because you haven't yet found a challenge worthy of your existence? Could it be that you're unhappy because somewhere deep inside you have this unshakable feeling that you're here on Earth, in this place and in this time, for something greater than getting Facebook likes? Could the apparent elusiveness of your happiness be a result of your desire to remove any pain or struggle or difficulty from your life? And as a result, we're now finding that instead of making our lives happy, this pursuit of ease just makes our lives boring and bland. Here's the thing. When we find a challenge that really matters, something that's worthy of giving our life for and to, then we find for ourselves a well of happiness. Not necessarily in finally overcoming the challenge, but in knowing in ourselves that the challenge is worth struggling for. So it seems the secret of our happiness is not in living a problem-free life. Instead, it's living our life in the pursuit of things that actually matter. It appears that the extent of our happiness is actually linked to the caliber of the problems that we choose to embrace. So here's the final truth bomb. If you want to find happiness, stop looking for ease, and instead go out and find that challenge that's worthy of your life. Don't run from it. Face it, embrace it, and overcome it. Then go out and find the next one. Because it's in the struggle to overcome a challenge that we find our meaning and purpose. And in finding our meaning and purpose, we ultimately find that we're happy. This has been another presentation from Enso Consulting. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. I'm Dr. Greg. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you again soon.